Hello, friends. Let's discuss today this essay topic. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Let's quickly go through this essay topic. See, quite often UPSC asks essay topics to you, and you don't have to go by the literal meaning of it, but try to rather capture the essence of it. What this essay topic wants to say is that education is something what in the current scheme of system, how the system is arranged today. Education focus more on monitoring, on surveillance, on testing, and on equipping you with a lot of skills, but which do not find relevance in real practical life. One is this aspect that you can discuss, where you can draw some shortcomings of the education system. The second, which you should focus more on, is not necessarily the shortcomings of the system, but rather shortcoming of people who are enrolled in that system. That is we, students. So what students are doing these days, or what the trend is, it has always been that what we learn in schools, from books, from teachers, do we apply that in real life? Or we forget that? So the topic that I deduce, what I interpret from this topic is that education, the test of education is when you have left the school. So how much you can apply those things that you have learned in schools in real life. If you can apply those things, if education helps you become a better citizen, a better member of your family, a better human being, a healthy human being, a happy human being, if education is helping us in these ways, it is helping individuals, it is helping the society, then we would say that yes, education is doing good. So, a few examples. Now, think of whatever subjects we have studied and what relevance of them would be there in the practical life. And unless that relevance is there, we will say education has not fulfilled its goal. So education has not been there. So, for example, a lot of us study biology or chemistry or these kind of subjects. In biology, we are taught about vitamins and good health and food and all these things. But if after studying all that biology, if you're not able to uh, eat properly, if you don't actually go for a balanced diet, if you're still addicted to sugary stuff, oily stuff, processed food, then what's the benefit of it? Or if recently COVID was there a couple of years back. So in COVID, if you cannot apply what you learned in biology, then what's the benefit of learning those biology lessons? Similarly, chemistry, similarly, all other subjects. Let us take a subject from some subjects from social sciences also, like civics or political science in higher classes in higher education system. Now, civics and political science, does these subjects help us become better human beings? Does it improve the health of our democracy? Does it make us realize how much important the responsibility of voting is? That we should not vote on the basis of communal or other factors, and we should ask questions to the government. We should hold it accountable, and so on. So, education is not necessarily what we are writing answers to those civic questions in class 8 or MA political science. Education is how good citizens you are when you are going to vote, or even how good politicians you become later in your life. Similarly, we read about psychology, we read about so many disciplines. But the point that I want to say is that does education help you in the real life? Like a lot of us are having mental health issues these days. Can all this education and the lessons on psychology help us on those aspects? Similarly, we see that a lot of stress is there in family these days. Families are breaking apart. Relationship of spouses and parent-child is under tremendous stress. So, does education help you become a better member of your family? Does it make you realize that you share some responsibility and what way you can perform your roles better? And also the importance of freedom that every individual should have. So, the test of education is after you have passed from school. So I would focus rather on more on this part of the essay, where instead of criticizing the school and the course curriculum and saying that things are repetitive, things are not, course curriculum is outdated and so on, education is not necessarily, education is enslaving us. or it is disciplining us. Yes, those things are true, and somewhat we will talk about that. But my primary focus would be to show and demonstrate that how education's importance is there even when you have passed the school. So it helps us become better member of the family, better member of the community. It helps us become better citizens. It helps us ask questions to the government. It helps us stay united and provide equality and dignity to others. If education does not help you become a person who respects a woman, if education does not teaches you these values, or education would teach basically, but in case if you have not incorporated those values, if you have not assimilated those values in your mind after reading all that feminist literature, after reading all those theories in social sciences and in literature, if you are still a person who disrespects women, who ridicules them, or disrespects other weaker sections of our society, then what is the benefit of education system? So these are some of the ideas that you could be talking about. Yes, if you want, you can also talk about how education should help us grow economy or maybe help us get jobs, but focus more on these segments, these ethical segments, these philosophical segments where we say that all these lessons that we have learned in education system, the real test of that happens. Whether that education is functional or dysfunctional, the real test of that happens whether when we see whether or not we retain those lessons even after when we have passed from school or colleges or universities. And remember, the school is written over here, but the topic does not mean only school. By school, we mean the entire education system from, say, nursery to PhD. Everything it is included there. So I think these are some of the ways where you can write this essay. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Okay. Because what we have forgot, see, when we try to remember, we basically remember something because we want to clear some exams. We want to get good scores. We want to, there are these competitive exams or these grading systems. We want to pass through them. So we learn them. But the real test of education is when we have forgotten what we learned for those things and whether we are applying those things later in our life. So in this way, these are a couple of ways in which you could interpret this essay. First, you could criticize how education is trying to colonize students, or rather confine them, enslave them, restrict them, take away their freedom, discipline them, and so on. And second, how these vital lessons and philosophical ideas that education teaches us, or scientific theories that education teaches us, the spirit of inquiry that we learn in science and chemistry, do we retain that spirit of inquiry later in our life, or do we become blind bhakt of something? Science, what is the benefit of learning all those chemistry and physics if you are still someone who does who has blind faith on someone? Okay, so in this way, I think you could have dealt with this essay. And this essay is similar to an essay that I had asked in my test series also. I used to ask that essay, and the topic was like this, that let me search for the topic again, that the topic was here. One's work may be finished someday, but one's education never. So this was a topic that I used to ask in my test series long back, not now, but I used to ask this. So something similar, this topic was also there. Theme on education is important, and retain these ideas with you. They will help you write better essays. I hope this was beneficial. Stay tuned to the channel to learn the art of essay writing. Thank you.